It's electric. It's electric. It's electric. All right, everyone. Welcome to It's Electric. It's electric. It's electric. It's electric. With your host, Afeez. Yay.
Hi, welcome to It's Electric. Today I have a special guest. Because we actually work together on one of my other projects called ecartestdrives.com. On ecartestdrives.com, we write articles again about electric cars, about clean energy and clean tech, and some political articles as well. And today I have Richard Shrubb with me, who is the main writer for eCar Test Drives. You know, I will be discussing with him picking about two or three of our all-time hits on eCar Test Drives. So anyway, Richard, take it away. Introduce yourself and tell the audience what you do and what really grind your gears, and we can go through them one by one.
When I was at university, first time around, I was a Greenpeace activist. So on my CV, I've invaded Chequers with the French president there, and I've invaded the French ambassador's garden party at the same time.
Wow.
I never really lost my anger, but now I've got a kid, I can't really get arrested. So I've got to sort of focus on trying to beat the establishment through economics. And it strikes me as e-cars, e-bikes, e-boats even are the best way to beat the oil junkies at their end game. So
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I have, you know, we've been working together for a couple of months, actually more than a couple of months now.
About a year, isn't it?
Yeah, about a year now, yeah. And there are a couple of articles that you've written for me, and there's one, I'll probably say about two or three actually, that really stood out. One of the more techie ones is solid state batteries, a 900-mile range electric vehicle. Now, is this actually possible? I know you've done your research on this. There's a new discovery that's been made by the same discoverer of lithium ion, and he's now discovered solid state battery, and there's a belief that this it can actually give us a 900-mile range electric vehicle. I mean, with a 900-mile range electric vehicle, that will basically make internal combustion engine cars obsolete right now. Like, you wouldn't even need them anymore. So can you tell us a bit more about what you found out and if you believe this is possible?
Well, I've been talking to the UK developers of Toyota's solid state battery since, and they honestly told me that they can't find a way of manufacturing it at a mass production level. So,
why is that?
Because you've got to put 3 inks down, which have to dry, and the inks can't interfere. The first ink is the electrode, and then that has to dry. Then you have to put the electrolyte down, which has to dry, but it hasn't to interfere with the electrode, which is already dry. And then you've got to put the next electrode down.
Wow. And
they can't. They've made solid state batteries for sensors for the likes of McLaren sports cars, for the sensors sort of measuring rain on the windscreen and that sort of thing, but they can't scale it up to huge batteries. At the same time I spoke to this boffin, someone in Taiwan came up with a liquid electrolyte battery which had the same range as Toyota's planned to be in 5 years' time. And this Taiwanese liquid electrolyte battery can be charged in 5 minutes, which is one of the selling points of solid-state batteries, is that you can whack a load of charge in and off you go.
Yeah, but okay, the thing is, what is the capacity of the battery that can be charged in 5 minutes? Because if it's just 1 kilowatt hour battery, then yeah. Well, are we talking about the normal, size 30?
The one that was announced at Taiwan, they were talking about put it in, that they reckon they can manufacture it. All they've done is tweak the chemistry of the battery. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what the chemistry is, and it vastly extended the range of a standard EV propulsion battery. And that's where the real exciting stuff is these days in electric cars, is it in battery chemistry.
Yeah.
It may seem boring, but it's like we all thought computer geeks were boring in the 1990s, but they are the superstar billionaires. And it's the billionaires are going to be in batteries,
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so I'm looking at your article right now. And I'm sure you probably have it in front of you as well.
Yeah.
There's a part here where he talked about how lithium-ion batteries work. The second part was John Goodenough, who was the guy that actually discovered lithium-ion battery in the first instance. Can you give us a bit of, what do you know about John Goodenough, and just give us some flavor on the guy, himself.
Right, John Goodenough, he developed the lithium-ion system. And now that means I don't fully understand it, but essentially people have been playing with lithium batteries instead of lead acid for a while. And he worked out a way to manufacture them and make them at a large scale. What happened was a company, some suspect, I think it was Sony.
Yeah.
Sony sent in a researcher just to work with him, who promptly stole all his ideas and patented them in Japan. And he's still a broke academic researcher who's been credited, but he didn't get the patent, didn't make his billion. He is coming around again with solid-state batteries, which he actually believes he can start working, instead of lithium, he can work with sodium and other really more readily available alkali metals. And he thinks, at 96, he might yet make his billions.
It's never too late, right?
Yeah. So that's about the story. I mean, he's now in the race to patent the first mass manufacturable solid state battery.
So I'm just thinking about the reading part of your article, and the part that actually got my attention is he said the solid state idea. He said if you got rid of the liquid electrolyte, so in theory you could kill off the risk of dendrites forming between the anode and the cathode and getting rid of the risk of explosion. So, I mean, it seems like such a very simple idea that you think someone will have already thought about this a long time ago and thought, why don't you just get rid of the electrolyte? Because one of the reasons why batteries, one of the reasons why I've been given, I'm not sure if it's true or not, why batteries do not conduct electricity when it's very cold is because the electrolyte, if you get to very cold weather, the electrolyte will freeze up, and the exchange of energy between the anode and the cathode flowing through the liquid gel wouldn't pass through so freely. The electrons won't pass through so freely because the electrolyte has frozen up. So you would think that if someone could just thought about removing that would maybe make things better. And that's why I'm thinking this could be the salvation that we've been looking for in terms of the moving to electric vehicle and making it mass production. So,
liquid electrolyte batteries are already doing the things that were first dreamed of 15 years ago in solid state batteries.
Exactly.
So it's a massive race. Solid state batteries might be the end game. But in what form, how is it going to appear, That's technology. The futurists often get it wrong, and they might be barking up the wrong tree with solid-state batteries. they are saying within 5 years you're going to see a production car that can be charged in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but they've been saying that for the past. So I think one thing that we need to be very careful of as well that I've noticed is there's a lot of claims out there, a lot of battery technology claims of, oh, we found this battery that uses graphene, and it, you'll be able to travel 1,000 miles and charge in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
it's kind of deciphering what is real and what is fake, and what is just in the lab and what can actually be commercialized. And but it seems to me that solid state is a good candidate to replace lithium ion, and people keep thinking that this battery breakthrough will only apply to electric cars. Not really, because lithium ion batteries is used everywhere in your phone as well. Your phone will also benefit from it. Your laptop will also benefit from that as well.
Well, at a micro level and at a very small level, they have managed these solid state batteries. So we might see a solid state mobile phone long before we see one for a car.
Yeah.
And so mobile phones, computers, chips, those sort of things, they're a different game. They don't have to carry so much charge. They don't have to carry so much power. And batteries at the end of the day, car batteries are still lead brick. Well, not lead bricks, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Huge things. I mean, one of the things that interests me is NIO is a Chinese firm.
Yes, go on. I'll let you know what they do also interest me a great deal, but I'll let you go ahead.
They are building, or they're planning to roll out. Or no, they've already started rolling out.
Yeah, they've already built. I think it's called the EP8 or something, the car.
And I think you can change its whole battery pack in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think there was a show where they actually timed it. I think it was below 5 minutes. Yeah,
I think from an environmental perspective, if we are being green nuts, then it would make more sense. It's better for the environment just to have batteries on slow charge, taking being far more efficiently charged, and just swap them out. I mean, they're doing it on courier e-bikes at the moment. Why can't they do that with cars?
Exactly.
I know the infrastructure would be a nightmare to do. You can imagine 20 cars queuing up at a Tesco to change their batteries on a Friday night.
Well, I mean, but then again, right now, charging a Tesla takes about 40 minutes to get 80%. To actually change the batteries over, it's about 5 minutes. So it's supposed to be quicker than charging. But I think where the difficulty will be is having enough battery to satisfy everyone, because there's about, just in Europe, there's probably about 200-300 million cars, probably even more. I'm just picking numbers off the top of my head. So does that mean that we'll probably need about half of that, probably 2/3 of that, 300 million battery packs? And are those battery packs going to be the same size? Do we have one size fit all battery packs? So it's possible if it's just one company that's doing it. But what about all the other companies?
And they would come up with their proprietary means. I mean, the article I've written for the Electric Bike Report was considering why there isn't a standard battery to swap over. Well, the answer is that companies need to innovate their batteries. And they need to innovate the whole systems, and that's going to improve e-bikes as a whole. So it is all going to be different. It would be lovely for us if there was just a standard battery pack which you could swap out between a Fiesta and a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, but that means the Fiesta and the Rolls Royce have to be the same size.
But for the companies and for us, sort of due to driving evolution, it's going to be better if Rolls Royces have the best battery systems, and Rolls Royce are feeding that technology down through BMW down to the Mini, so there we go.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, another thing is that I wanted to actually speak to you about today is you wrote one other article called, I think you called Ultra Low Emission Zone. Just go electric. Now, do you want to explain to us what is this ultra low emission zone? How does it where is it implemented? What is it? Where is it implemented? And what was your thought behind writing this article?
From April 2019, there's going to be an ultra low emission zone whereby cars are going to be charged, I think, am I right in saying, £12.50 for cars, vans and motorbikes.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at your article right now. Yes, you're right. I think you said, according to Transport for London, petrol vehicles that don't meet Euro 4 standards and diesel vehicles that do not meet Euro 6 standards will have to pay a ULEZ, which is ultra low emission zone daily fee, £12.50 for cars, vans and motorbike, and £100 for buses, coaches, and
since then they've added something called the toxicity charge, I believe that has come into play, if not right now, certainly by April this year, whereby cars that do not meet, I believe, Euro 4 standards are charged £100 to enter London. Let's look up the T charge now.
Yeah.
Because older vehicles driving in central London now need to meet minimum Euro emission standards or pay a daily extra charge.
Yeah.
This is in addition to the congestion charge. Now, cost discount and payment is £10 a day plus the £11.50 congestion charge. So they're already cracking down on Euro 6.
Wow.
On polluting cars. And buses and trucks that don't get hit with that, then it's an extra £100 a day. So it's driving the dirty vehicles off the roads.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my diesel would have to pay, my filthy old diesel, which is in Spain now, it won't. I'd have to pay £21.50 to go into London. Not like you'd have to pay me £21.50 to go into London anyway.
You know what? You laugh about that, but there's a line here in your article that says that it is widely agreed that there are around 9,000 deaths linked to pollution in London every year.
Yeah, and what really irritated me was reading the Road Haulage Association, and I said whined. You edited it to stated. This demonising of road freight by the Mayor and the Transport of London is a serious issue for the people and business of London. We need freight vehicles to move the goods we all use, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the bicycles we ride, and the buildings we work in. Yeah, but if you're choking the very people who are doing the economy,
exactly.
Then, what's more important, the economy or the bloody people? Pardon my language.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think sometimes the issue that we have here is that people are so focused on economic reasons that they're forgetting that you cannot justify economic reasons for, environmental issues. I think economics and environmental need to find a way to coexist and work, hand in hand. Our entire ecosystem is based on fossil fuel. The fossil fuel that we are oil-based economy on Earth. So we need to look after, the people. We need to look after the health of the people and the environment. And that's one of the reasons why this article really, resonated with me as well. And then to make, things even worse, there's a section over here where you're subheading in your article called "Road Lobby Recoils in Horror."
And that's what I've just read from. And I pointed out in the same paragraph that walking through parts of London is like inhaling 5 cigarettes a day, whether you smoke or not.
Yeah.
And the government is sort of saying, don't smoke, but do inhale the fumes because it's good for the economy. Breathe deeply. The HCVs are good for the economy.
It's I think that there are so much double standards that you really have to laugh. And obviously what we're doing here is just highlighting those double standards that, you have the government. I'm not sure if the government even know what they're doing in certain, aspect when it comes to, clean energy and clean transportation. On one hand, you can tell that they know that it needs to be done. But on the other hand, they're so entrenched in the old ways of doing business, that it's almost like they're caught between two things and they don't know what to do. They know it's coming. They have to do something about it.
Well, they want the economy to work because that keeps the masses from rioting.
Yeah.
And their money, they're personally making millions out of fossil fuels. So it's in their interests, as well as the people that bribe them. Support their parties. And that's how life works. I mean, unfortunately, you've got. I mean, I don't know. I left the Green. I only left the Green Party because Jeremy Corbyn got in power. Because, no offence to the Greens, Jeremy Corbyn can change things. The Conservatives are so wedged in fossil fuels and the old ways that I do get quite political. And yes, I mean, it does come to who's healthier for you, who's going to look after the NHS, and who's going to look after the environment. It's certainly not Theresa bloody May. She's making her husband's a hedge fund manager. Big money or people, pardon my language, but it really is. And at the moment, you've got the dirty industrialists in charge, and they're saying, "Oh, don't worry, we'll let 9,000 people die a year in London because it is good for the economy, and ultimately it's good for us because we're going to jump on Elon Musk's rocket to Mars one day and leave all the plebs to die on the dying planet, aren't
we?" They have to get there first in one piece.
Right. Well, I wouldn't like to be in a capsule with Donald Trump, to be honest. That would not be pleasant.
Well, talk about Donald Trump. There's another article that I would like to go on after this that actually talks about the U.S. But before we go there, just to finish this one, and there's a section here as well in this article where it says there are vehicles for every sector to go electric. And you clearly stated that, you said, from your commuter who still wants to drive to work to the biggest HGVs, there are EVs that will be able to drive on London's roads of every size. And you've clearly said again in the third paragraph, the UK-based startup Arrival.
Yeah.
That's the one. I've just started a pilot project with Royal Mail to test their 3.5 tons.
They're medium-sized trucks, basically.
Yeah, basically, exactly. So they're basically medium-sized trucks, which are the ones that cities use. Those are the intercity, ones that I believe we need to focus our attention on. Those are the ones that do pollute the most.
Well, since this article, of course, Tesla's just launched its HGV.
The truck, yeah.
And they're saying, 500 kilometers a charge. Although it's, the driver's going to have to have a long sleep in between charges while it's charged.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are in all sectors. I mean, I've even seen an electric container ship, which is working in Norway. China's made a song and a dance about a new one, but actually Norway got in there first.
I mean, that's another. I think people, when they talk about electric, everyone seems to focus on electric cars, but there are also other means of transportation that I believe probably also needs attention as well. There is the electric, obviously there's electric ships, there's trucks, and I know that you are obviously, one of your key subject matter areas is boats, electric boat. Well, not electric boat, but boats in general. So, I mean, do you want to tell us what is going on in the boating industry when it comes to electric?
In yachting, not a lot really. I found a guy, I think he's in Minnesota, and he there's a guy in Minnesota who uses a lead acid battery system, which competes in cost and weight to an inboard diesel, but it's got a range of about 12 miles, which if you're on a sailing boat, isn't gonna kill you. For a day's sail, you'll probably need 4 or 5 miles of charge. But when you get up to lithium-ion batteries, diesel far out competes in price. The diesel engines are, argument's sake, 5,000 to put in, 5,000 to buy, another couple of thousand to put in, and I mean Torqeedo are the market leader in yachting, and they don't compete, not on price with diesel. It's good of them to have got into the market, and I'm glad that someone is a bit more green-minded. But I wish they would, look at how to compete with diesels, and they don't. Tesla, who are the car equivalent of Torqeedo, are trying to compete penny for penny, but they're not succeeding. But Torqeedo are not succeeding, and whatever they want. There are other companies coming onto the market. I can't say who may well start competing penny for penny with. But the problem is, it's the cost of lithium-ion batteries, and that pushes out to the wider issue of as China wakes up, as the Chinese dragon wakes up to batteries and starts pricing Tesla off the market, out competing Tesla in terms of cost per kilowatt hour, then we're going to see the cost of lithium-ion batteries mass produced by the 1,000 ton, and we're going to see in all sectors, we're going to see plummeting battery prices. Because the Chinese, when they wake up to something, they really go for it. And it's now cheaper to send a design over to China, put it on a container ship, and then send it over to China where it's manufactured, put it on a container ship, and have it delivered 13,000 miles than it is to make it in your own home country. So that's what China does. That's what they specialize in, and that's what they're going to do to batteries. So that's going to blow the bottom out of the lithium-ion battery market, and we are going to see cheaper boat drivetrains. We're going to see cheaper drone taxi drivetrains, as well as car drivetrains and everything else. So it's all going to happen, and it's down to China to wake up to it.
Wow. So I mean, it's talking about China. What about the U.S.? I mean, the next article I want to discuss about here. This is the one that you wrote. The headline that says, U.S. changes car fuel efficiency laws. Looking backwards is a good way to trip up. It sounds like you were rapping there. But it's funny enough, but it's true. It is true. So do you want to tell us more about this story, about this article rather, and just explain to us what is the issue here? And how is the U.S. going backwards? Because obviously China seems to be waking up, and they understand that they need to clean up their transportation system. They need to clean up the energy generation as well. So what is wrong with the U.S.? The U.S. used to be the leader before, but now it seems like China is now waking up, and they could be.
They also used to have a sane president.
Yeah. Yes. So tell us about this article, please.
Well, since Trump got in power, the likes of GM and Ford have been lobbying congressional friends, and Trump's lot, the GOP, run Congress, and they've been leaning on their congressmen and paying them bribes, campaign support, and they're going to change the law and allow cars to be less fuel efficient, to try to take some of the rust out of the Rust Belt, as it's known in Detroit. Make Detroit great again. and it seems that Congress has been supine. They've got, the same Congress has just given a massive tax cut to the point that we're talking about a government shutdown already in the next couple of weeks.
Wow.
They're just pillaging government. But anyway, and it looks as if cars are going to be allowed to be less fuel efficient in America, and that's so people can drive these giant gas guzzlers, doing gallons to the mile. At the same, one of the protagonists of this is the world market leader in the mid-range EV market, which is GM, the makers of the Chevy Bolt, which is widely known as the best, and more of these have been more. There's more Bolts on the road than there are Tesla Model 3s. Because GM have got their act together and they're making them. Well, Tesla's trying to invent a new fashionable factory or something. I don't know.
Well,
so
that's not fair.
The US car industry is trying to go backwards, and yeah, that's about the story. It's worrying and bad. And then you look over to China, where the Chinese government are aware that if too many ordinary people choke to death in Beijing, then there could be pitchforks at the gates of government. So they've taken it as a public health issue. They're heavily subsidizing EVs. They're giving massive tax breaks to it. They're driving energy into their EV market. China is now the biggest EV market in the world.
Yes.
Everybody's trying to export to China, but there's massive tariffs against it.
And I guess that is another subject that I would like to.
Another game, but it's meant is that China's managed to slip in front while America's looking backward.
Yeah, but it's not that we can see this happen. So it's almost like everything has just gone into slow motion for the US. It's like you can see what China's doing, but for some reason it's almost like they are slow to react, or they're conflicted, or what is wrong. When I see Donald Trump and I hear him talk about, we're gonna make America great again, this and that and that, and I'm thinking, well, how can you do that when your energy sector has not been taken care of? Right now, they rely on fossil fuel. And while China, where a country that we all used to, think was probably, almost third world country at one point, is now very much, ahead of everyone. They're very forward thinking. The government knows where they want to be.
But they're essentially managed economy. So
yeah.
For years, their presidents have been both telling their industry how they're going to make, what to do. And then Xi Jinping is actually the greatest railway salesman in the world. He goes around and he tells people, he goes to different countries and says, we want to build a railway across your country and by China. And everybody says, yeah, okay, it's pretty cheap. It's very good. It's bang. They are focused on the looking after their people. Trump and, dare I say it, Theresa May are solely interested in maybe 1% of the population, or maybe even 0.1% of the population. They're mates. They're not interested in anybody else. They're going to stuff us and do everybody else. Whereas China, they are in what they call a collectivist culture, and everybody's pulling together to achieve the same thing. And Xi Jinping, great guy. Yes, they worry that he's becoming a bit of a megalomaniac and he's trying to centralize too much power in his hands. But what he's doing is, he's looking after his people. Let's make EVs work. Let's get rid of coal power stations and let's make wind and solar energy. Bang, they flatten mountains to build a solar farm. I mean, it's a beauty to behold, and I just wish
they just get things done, isn't it?
Democracy, don't you?
Well, Absolutely. So, next article that I'd like to go into, this one actually really got my attention. Now I'm talking about probably one of the top two articles that you've written for me on e-car test drive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it said this is the Charge Master stroke AA. We have passed the tipping point of EV adoption in the UK. Do you still believe
that?
Do you believe that?
Not for a while.
Do you think so? Let's go. Have you got the article open in front of you?
Yes. Now I remember this. What it is there was a massive survey. There was a massive survey of car users,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was only 15% or less said they were going to buy diesels too. Buy diesels. So that means that diesel is dead in new cars. And more people are saying, yeah, actually, wake up to hybrid. Yeah, let's wake up to EVs. And that's because it's 120. Well, I'm paying 122 pence a litre on diesel. People want cheaper cars to run. And I read somewhere today that in America, in some places, it costs less than 50% to fuel an EV than it does a petrol engine car. So less than 50%. And that actually draws a lot of people to cars. Actually, I don't have to pay. I mean, I've written an article on my own website. If you look on my blog on my richardshrubb.com site, I drove I had to rent a Toyota RAV4 to go to London. And it appalled me that it was still doing 40 to the gallon, which is 10 miles to the litre. Wow. It's 11 years younger than my dirty old C-Max, and it's doing the same fuel efficiency. And I'm like, why aren't we doing 70 to the litre? Why aren't we doing 20 to the litre by now? Why aren't we doing 70 to the gallon? And that's because people are saying, oh, well, you don't worry about fuel efficiency. It's got a nice computer screen on it. And when you reverse, you're not going to hit an old lady because it turns into, you've got a camera on the back. I don't really give a monkeys about these widgets and gizmos. What I want a car ultimately to do is get me there cheaply and get me there efficiently.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I love the gadgets. I mean, I was undergoing a bit of sensory overload when I was going around the M25 because it was telling me where all the speed cameras were, and I was trying to ignore them because the variable speed limit was off, and I was ignoring the speed limit. The widgets and gizmos are fine, but the core technology of the car is that it is doing 40 to the gallon. And that's just, what the heck are cars doing 40 to the gallon 12 years after my old C-Max?
Yeah.
And so if people are getting driven over towards hybrids and EVs by the cost of fuel, then that's hardly a bad thing. And it's telling the car companies loud and clear that actually we want cheaper cars to drive. Yeah. And that's the big push, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, but then there's a line over here that you said a survey of more than 19,000 automobile association AA members has led the chief executive of EV charging network Charge Master, David Martel, to say, in many ways, we have passed the tipping point of electric vehicle adoption in the UK, and the pace of change over the coming years will be quite dramatic. And which is, I mean, I drive an electric car right now, and I am enjoying all the benefits. But however, there's a section here that you said the real worries that potential EV owners have were surveyed in the AA Populous poll in July 2017 and discovered that the following issues were the major things holding people back, I guess, from buying electric cars. So you have availability of charging points, higher purchase price, battery durability, limited range, time taken to charge, lack of choice. Now, if we're to go through all of those, right, I can tell you right now, the ones that are probably going to disappear within the next 2-3 years, at least before 2020, and the ones that is not really the car's fault, it's not the electric vehicle fault, it's the fact that there isn't a cohesive charging infrastructure being put in place. So the first one here is availability of charging points. 84% of people said in this survey that they wouldn't buy an electric car because they're scared that there isn't enough charging points available. One thing that people always seem to forget is that you don't do more than 40, 50 miles on a daily basis. A majority of people, at least for 90% of your journey on average in the UK. And the electric cars that we have right now have upwards of 125, 130, probably 150 miles of real world range, traveling at 65 miles an hour on average. So, and you can charge at home. Most cases anyway, if you are a 2-car, household and you happen to be lucky enough to have a driveway or somewhere where you can put a charge in, you can just charge at home. So you find that a lot of people that are probably filling in this survey will find that half of them could probably have an electric car right now and they'll be fine with it. And and the next one down is higher purchase price. I had a debate with someone, and I still believe that electric car prices have been artificially inflated. Because if you do look at an electric car itself, there isn't too much to it. There isn't that much moving parts apart from the battery. And but then if you look at an internal combustion engine, you've got the engine, you've got the transmission, you've got the gear, all of those things that are quite expensive to make. There's a lot of moving parts. So I don't still understand why electric cars are so much, and I'm not talking about just 10% or 15%. I'm talking about a lot more expensive than a normal car. I think they've been artificially, the price has been artificially inflated just to discourage people from buying it. And they have battery durability. Now, most people that I've spoken to have said that they believe that they'll have the car and then after a year or two, they will have to change the battery and it's quite expensive. That is completely false. It's not true.
They're talking that they reckon that there's going to be cars capable of 600,000 miles before it's time for the scrappy. And
Absolutely.
that's what battery cars are going to be. It's actually the reverse, because you've got to, on most petrol engine cars, you've got about 150,000 miles before
exactly.
you have to chuck it.
Yeah, and then you chuck it away and get another one.
But they're going to be doing 600,000.
Yeah.
So it's or 6 million.
600,000. So basically, it's at least 6 times, or at most,
Well, 4 times.
4 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there, but because there isn't that much awareness and knowledge about electric cars, and when someone says something, and the media have started to say, "Oh, electric cars are, they're not as green as you think they are because those batteries will not last too long, and then you have to throw them away. How are you going to recycle them?" Those batteries can be recycled, and also they have a second life, so you can also use the batteries as backup as well. So most people don't realize this. And then there is the lack of choice and availability. I've just skipped through 1 or 2 choice reasons, going to the bottom, which I believe in the next 2 years will not even be an issue, even 3 years, because VW is now coming out. They have to after the Dieselgate, right?
Yeah.
So VW are coming out with choices. BMW is coming out with choices. Mercedes is coming out with choices. You have
the next big car to come on the market is the Jaguar I-Pace.
That's the one.
That is going to be the sex on legs.
I have been waiting for that car. Oh my word, that car! I mean, it looks just right.
Yeah.
It's what the Model 3 should have looked like.
And once more, it's going to remind people, when you put your foot down, unlike the Leaf, when you put your foot down, you're feeling the G-force.
Exactly.
And it's going to drive excitement into EV driving again.
Yeah.
That's the great thing. You've got the top. I mean, one of the things they haven't listed here is the lack of sex appeal on these cars. The Clarkson's not going to get, anyway, I'm not going to talk about what he gets when he's buying a 5,000 horsepower car. But he doesn't get it. No. When you put your foot down on a Tesla, you're slammed into the back of the seat. Mm-hmm. And, if you put your foot down hard enough, your face will be rippling. And these things, that is what the sex appeal is. You get into a Leaf and you put your foot down and it might accelerate in 10 seconds. And they've really made it for the knit your own sandals brigade. That I-Pace is going to be like, yeah, right, give me a bloody. And everybody drives that Model S. That Tesla Model S is like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you've driven a Model S as well.
I have, and it was like a spiritual awakening.
I see, exactly.
And it really was. And I would not mind getting in that roadster and chucking it on the track. I'm sure I'd write it off. But
1.9 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah.
1.9 seconds.
And unlike, you know, I call my dirty diesel, the Rocket, because I can accelerate very quick. I can get to 60 in sub 8. Now, there's still that delay. Whereas with EVs, you don't have it. You'd have to wait for the turbo to kick in. It goes bang, and you get all the torque immediately. And that's why you can get to 60 in sub 4 in the Tesla Model S, and in sub, what was it? He said sub 2 in the Roadster.
Yeah,
1.9
seconds.
Any harder than that, and you'd be causing organ damage, I think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, actually, you know, you laugh, but I think we're now approaching, especially with those Tesla cars, approaching the limit that your body can take.
Yeah.
But again, you're right. I think instead of talking about saving the environment, and this is what I would tell people, let's talk about the cost savings, the fun aspect of owning an electric car. And that is what people want. And that is why people
want. But they also want a sexy car. Now get that bloody Leaf.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be designed.
And start appealing to the Clarksons of the world. I mean, these cars, I mean, I had a go in the i3. Which I know you drive, but it didn't impress me one bit. I was saying, come on, this is a BMW. It's meant to blow my socks off.
That's because you've been spoiled by the Tesla Model.
Well, no, it barely compared with my diesel. And actually, there is the capacity to have a really on-fire car, which will really sort of raise a middle-aged man's spirits when he ain't getting laid by his busy wife. And these cars can be made with the acceleration and with the out-and-out speed. And except they're aiming at the knit your own sandals brigade. And I think the I-Pace is going to be saying, hang on, people who are used to driving big cars are going to be saying, wake up, this is going to be fun, you know.
Yeah,
it's going to put the sex back into EV driving, which is one of the things that it doesn't attract the petrol heads, and the I-Pace could do that. Hopefully, we'll see.
But then I mean, you mentioned quite a, you mentioned different electric cars there. You wrote another article called "What's the best hybrid or BEV SUV available in the UK?"
Yeah.
This one got a lot of attention on LinkedIn. You know that? A heck of a lot. So I don't know. What can we read into that? I mean, I feel that people are genuinely now considering these cars as a viable option for them to buy. And this article got a lot of comments, a lot of suggestions. Actually, someone asked us to write this, didn't they? Someone actually requested for this.
There's a woman from Bournemouth who's considering
Estelle
SUV, really.
Estelle Bentel. I used to work with Estelle actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So she was looking for an SUV, and obviously with me talking about electric cars, and then she was like, "Well, there isn't any electric car that can fulfill my needs, even a hybrid." I said, "Well, why don't I just get Richard to write an article?" And I think this really opened a lot of people's eyes and brought even hybrid to and let people know that there are some really good choices there. And one of the choices that I'm actually looking at, I cannot wait for. If you scroll all the way down, I'm not sure if you've got in front of it. There's the Audi e-tron.
Yes, right, that one.
Yes, that is a full electric from Audi, a proper car company, proper luxury car company. And it doesn't look half bad.
Right.
It doesn't look half bad. I mean, and then obviously we've got the Jaguar I-Pace, which you have
Living
there.
in a middle-class ghetto, I don't much like Audi drivers. I really don't. I mean, it used to be BMWs who had magnets that attracted everybody's rear bumper. Now it's Audis. Funnily enough, there was a hit and run killing in Dorset, in Dorchester over Christmas, and I wasn't surprised one bit it was an Audi.
Sad.
But,
Sad.
however, that is not a bad car. And if they can get rid of the bad attitude drivers, yeah, let's watch it.
Yeah, it is a nice car. And then obviously we've got a Tesla Model X, which you haven't test drive yet, have you?
I was given the option when I was up in Bristol. I mean, you could always send me up there to drive it. It was up there. There was the Tesla Model X up in Cribbs Causeway. I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
They've shown those things towing semi trucks with 40-ton loads out of snowdrifts.
Yeah. I mean, electric cars have torque, but the Model X is a monster. I mean, it's an SUV that does less than 2.8 seconds to 60. That's a supercar.
The thing that made me laugh was they had a Tesla Model X towing a Tesla Roadster on a trailer.
No, actually, no. What happened was it was towing an Alfa Romeo on a trailer while racing another Alfa Romeo, and he actually beat the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, that was
on the drag strip. It shows the torque of electric cars that it's and the thing is, people need to know about it, and you rightly said it. You need to have that.
Sex appeal, really,
that's
isn't
the
it?
one. That's the one. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you sit there, and in my old Rocket, I love to take on chavs when I see him on the road, and they're just sort of sitting there, and I've got my family in the back, and I see them sort of with their hats on backwards and their car. They spent all their money, all their pocket money on their car. I just put my foot down and leave them for dust. Now, with that, they wouldn't have a hope.
No, they wouldn't even come close. So the last article that I'm going to discuss with you today is, you wrote this one. This is about Dyson. Now, you're going to have to help me pronounce this word. I know it's an Italian word.
Garagistas.
Yeah. Dyson goes into EVs, another British garagista. What is tell me about this? What is the gist behind this? Okay, so is Dyson now coming into the EV market? Are they going to be?
It seems he is, and it's being developed around a solid state battery that he's trying to invent, and it excited a lot of people. If I'm right in saying yes, he's aiming at the luxury end of the market. So that makes him small manufacturing scales, and one of Enzo Ferrari's garagistas. People who win races, but they make about 3 cars. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at one of the sentence that you put here. He said the billionaire. One of the first news outlet to break the news was The Guardian. It states the billionaire who revolutionized the vacuum cleaner said 400 engineers in Wiltshire have been working.
It's up the road from here.
Okay, yeah. So since 2015 on the 2.5 billion pounds project, since 2015, but that's a long time to be working on something that we've not really actually seen a prototype or anything. What are they doing? I mean, it's.
But even in GM, if they fast track something, it would take 5 years to get from drawing board to the road.
But you know what they did with the Bolt, though? They actually fast tracked that car. It went from literally telling us they're going to do it to actually doing it in about 2 years, 2.5 years, because they use a third party. I think they use LG, I believe, to make the battery, and then they just kind of made the the body or something like that.
I do wonder if he's trying to build the battery again, and I do wonder if he's trying to build it around the battery, and the battery is confounding the best boffins in the world, the solid state battery. If he's jumping up and down saying I'm only going to have a solid state battery,
it's going to keep on waiting, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
It's one of those things where you probably, there's no point just waiting for all the condition to be right when it comes to EVs. You have to start, and then once you start, then people will. It's almost you need to apply the phased approach. I mean,
I know Porsche wanted their Model E, which is going.
Mission E. The Mission E.
Mission E.
Yeah.
That's going to blow socks off. But it was originally slated to have a solid state battery. But now they're going for liquid.
Yeah, they might as well just get it done, and then afterwards get into the market, start learning. There's no way. See, sometimes all these car manufacturers are waiting for everything to be, to be right. Like Toyota, I'm looking at you. Toyota is another company that just baffles me. Honda as well, they're talking about hydrogen. They're waiting for, I'm like, just get it.
Not hydrogen.
Yeah, I mean, the old hydrogen. I mean, what's your thought on hydrogen? Do you think that is something we should keep on waiting for? I mean,
I interviewed someone at the Transport Research Laboratory, TRL, and I was writing for Truck and Driver. And he turned around and said, the issue with hydrogen is that it is hideously inefficient to produce, and then you need to produce it and be able to transport it at the purity to all the petrol stations in the UK, for instance, in order to make it work. Its production process is so inefficient that to get it at the purity, the only way you're going to make it more efficient than burning carbon is to have the production centres very close to the to where it's going to be piped into the cars and trucks. So the only way it's going to the only way that you're with current production. The only way you're going to produce hydrogen at the purity that is required for a battery cell is by having it close to a chemical factory. There aren't chemical factories there aren't that many chemical factories around the UK, Cornwall, Dorset, and all these other places. So until they can improve the production of hydrogen to the purity required for a fuel cell, then it's a non-starter. And yes, it's the big pipe dream, but Elon Musk has referred to them as fool cells.
Full cells, yes.
Hell cells.
Full cells, yeah, I remember that.
The guy's considerably brighter than me. And
even you can see that.
To the same people,
Oh, okay, that's great. Honestly, it's been awesome speaking to you, Richard. I think we need to do more of this, a lot more of this. I don't know why we've not done this a lot sooner, actually. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on It's Electric. And I guess one thing that I've learned today is that there is a lot of double standards when it comes to the government. On one hand, they want to go green. They want to, improve the pollution issues that we have in the cities, especially in London. But on the other hand, they have to keep the status quo, which is a shame. So I guess that's what we have to keep on doing, Richard. We have to keep on putting all these stories out there and keep on trying to educate
and
people.
beat them at their own game.
And trying
Economics.
Economics. Anyway, rounding off this, thank you very much, Richard, for coming on the show. Thank you guys for listening to It's Electric, and we will speak to you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you for tuning into It's Electric. But if you like what you heard, go on to Apple Podcasts, give that 5-star review to Afeez, and let him know you love his show. Also, do Afeez a solid by going to teslarentals.co.uk to test out an electric car. That's teslarentals.co.uk. And for more on It's Electric, you can also look on itselectric.co. That's itselectric.co. After all, it's electric. It's electric. It's electric.